Welcome to KEWC's Educating Yuma Special Reports. I'm Cisco Stargazer, Education Solutions Reporter. In this program, we take a closer look at the schools, people, and issues shaping Yuma's future. For today's episode, we're speaking with Laurie Doering, Superintendent of the Crane Elementary School District.
And at the time, it wasn't so much I wanted to be a superintendent. I wanted to be the superintendent of Crane.
Doering is retiring this June, capping off a 43-year career in education.
When people look at retiring, they can leave too early and regret it, or they could go out at the right time.
Before she hangs her hat and heads off on vacation, however, we're taking some time to sit down with Laurie and learn a little about Crane through her eyes. All this on the latest Educating Yuma. All right, we are with Superintendent Laurie Doering of the Crane Elementary School District. Hi, Laurie.
Hi, Cisco.
How are you?
I'm fantastic, thank you.
Awesome. So before we get into your career, I'd love to know about your background with living in Yuma. Have you always lived in Yuma, or where are you from originally?
Great question. My dad didn't know what he wanted to do when he grew up, so he kept changing professions. He was an attorney and then went back to school to become a chemical engineer, and then went back to school to become a doctor, and then specialized in orthopedic surgery. So with that, we moved around a lot as a child. We moved to Yuma when I was a sophomore in high school, and he had done his residency in Phoenix. So when I came to Yuma, I said, I'm going to get out of this town and go back to the big city and never come back. However, I went away to school, came back, and never regretted that decision. It's been a great place to raise my family and a great place to anchor my career. I've loved it here.
Wow. So did you always know you wanted to do education?
Not for sure. I always knew I loved children. I loved children and really enjoyed that, but didn't know what I wanted to do. And I had debated between being a nurse or going into something with the healthcare field or something with education. And I ended up going in education, and I haven't regretted it. It's been a great career.
What convinced you, to go that way instead of healthcare?
Well, I saw twins being born.
Wow.
My dad wanted me to shadow a nurse, so I knew I didn't want to do that. I wanted something to be really impactful. And that's the one thing that's really unique about our profession, is that you know that you make an impact on so many lives.
Oh, that's nice. So how did you get your education career started? Was it just straight to teaching, or?
It's interesting. So I was interested in physical fitness and health. So I became a PE teacher. So I was a PE teacher for a couple years and wanted to get into the classroom and feel like I'd make more of an impact doing that. So I taught for years and then went into professional development, then to administration. And I've been a principal at 3 different schools and then came to the district office after that. So I have held many roles, and all of them are invigorating and exciting.
Wow. Well, tell me a little bit about, so where did you teach and where were you principal?
Sure. I taught PE at Rancho Viejo back when it used to be 2 schools together. It used to be the largest school in the state as far as the number of students. We had over 1,000 students. And then I taught 6th grade. When Valley Horizon, the school opened in 1991, I went over there as a teacher. And I also taught a multi-age class over there. Then I went to professional development for a couple years, where we, instead of having a professional development person at every school, which we have now, we only had a few of us for the district. So we split the schools, and whatever their needs were, we'd go do training. And then I became an assistant principal at Valley Horizon, then the principal. When Gary Knox opened in 2004, I was fortunate enough to be able to open that school, which is really exciting to be able to open a school, set the climate, etc. And then in 2009, I was moved to the middle school, Crane Middle School, and I love that age group of children. And then afterwards, I came here as the assistant superintendent and then superintendent for the past 9 years.
Wow.
43 years.
Wow.
It's a long time.
That's incredible. Actually, I'd love to hear a little bit about what was it like getting to open Gary Knox?
They did hire me early enough that I was able to get the staff situated. And it's really exciting because you really come together as a new family, trying to decide what is this culture, what do we believe in, etc. And everybody that went there were people that loved change. They were excited to try something new. But you have to think of everything as far as processes and procedures that were put into place at other schools that you just kind of inherit and tweak. You're building everything from scratch. So that was really exciting.
Wow. So did you get to make any big decisions about the mascot or the name?
Yes, actually we had the students involved.
What was that like?
Yes, we had the students vote on it. and staff as well. And they picked the Knox Knights. And it's funny because at the time I would call myself a Diet Coke addict. I truly was. I would drink a 12-pack of Diet Cokes a day, and the colors were red, silver, and black. And that ended up kind of being the colors. So people teased me, even though that had nothing to do with it. But
oh, that's funny.
it was
That's
really
funny.
exciting. And it's neat to involve the students and have them be part of something because it's difficult for them. Anytime they change schools, it's hard for kids. Some of their friends go with them and others they leave behind. So change is always difficult, but really built a great community there.
So did you get to see, because I know now we don't get as many new schools built, but it sounds like there was definitely more going on maybe, back in the day. But I don't know. Did you see a lot of change over your time with like maybe the education landscape growing in Yuma with new schools? What was that like?
I've seen a dramatic change. Back in the day, we were growing so fast we could hardly keep up. In fact, I was part of a committee that had to do some planning for year-round education. What was happening is our schools were growing so fast, we could not keep up with it. So at that time, the middle school was super large. And so we did what we call a multi-track. So let me kind of explain that. There's 4 tracks. And so one track of students, and they were color-coded blue, green, yellow, and red, right? So this group is off school. These 3 are in. So you have 75% of the population in. This group comes back. This group goes out on intercession. This group comes back. This group goes out on intercession. Am I making sense? Yeah. But you do it year-round. So we had to do that so that you don't have too many students in the building and you've got room for them. With that, you have to think of a lot of things because now when you do a staff training, you have to do it twice because the teachers that were off did not attend it, etc. But it was really beneficial as far as things like substitute teachers because then you have qualified quality teachers that could earn extra money by coming in and substituting. So during that time, it was difficult. We had to do the multi-track. Bob Klee, who was the former superintendent, was the principal at Crane Middle when this was going on. And other schools went with either a blue or a green track that fit in there. Then after that, Gary Knox was built, so it was able to take up some of the load. Mesquite was built, etc. So Centennial also opened up, so there was 2 middle schools instead of 1, and then no longer did we need the multi-track.
That must have been exciting to have like more schools available.
And now we're on the opposite end where the birth rate has declined dramatically. So less and less people are having children, and when they are, they're doing them at older ages or less children, the ESAs, etc. So we are seeing a decline in enrollment that's been really drastic. So I have seen both ends of the continuum.
Well, I guess that must not be as exciting now.
No, it's not.
Well, I'm actually curious, when did you start to see like maybe things decline a bit in terms of enrollment?
We've seen a real drastic decline since around COVID. It's been before, but that's when we've really seen it drastic. And we try to anticipate what the fall will be, but a lot of times it's more stark than we are planning for.
And I know that the ESCs became universal 2 years after COVID. So I guess that must have been a double whammy.
Yes, combined with the birth rates, exactly.
So then I am curious, how was it becoming superintendent? Was it difficult to get the role, or what that transition was like for you?
Great question. Bob Klee, the former superintendent, was very helpful as far as transitioning. I did apply along with other people, and there was a forum that they had. So there was a few things that we had to do for that process. So there were 3 final candidates, and what we had to do is interview with the board alone. We had to interview with staff, a staff group, and we also had to interview with a community group. So we had 3 interviews that day, and then that night there was a public forum where the public could come out, ask questions, etc. And afterwards, the board made the decision. And I was fortunate and blessed to be able to be the superintendent here. And at the time, it wasn't so much I wanted to be a superintendent. I wanted to be the superintendent of Crane. I grew up here in my career. I believe in this district. We all have a continuity of purpose and always do what's best for students in every decision we make. And I wanted that same belief and culture to continue.
Oh, that's so lovely. So was it hard getting started, or I don't know? I mean, I imagine there must have been some learning curve.
There's absolutely a learning curve. Anytime you go into a role, even if you think you're prepared for it, there's always a learning curve. However, what I've been so fortunate with Cisco is I have been able to be surrounded by people that are brighter and wiser and more strategic than I am. And I've always been able to lean on them. And because I've been able to do that, I think that's why we've been so successful. Because I have people that are comfortable saying, Laurie, that's not a good idea. Let me tell you the downfalls of that. And working with people that are extremely capable and knowledgeable and experts in their arena really has helped move us forward.
How were those 9 years? Like, how did they go? Were there any big challenges maybe when you started that you had to tackle?
Certainly. Our district and our community has absolutely dealt with difficult situations, looking through COVID and other things. One of the things that we have felt, of course, is the financial constraints that we have. Arizona is not funded appropriately, and we always rank between 48 to 50th as far as the amount of funding that we get. There's a lot more accountability systems, which are fine. However, they're not equitable. They're not the same for ESAs or for charters. They're different for public schools. So there are different constraints like that. Technology, I feel like our systems are so much better than they were before. And I credit a lot to Lupe Lewis, our HR director, and she really has a systematic mind on how we can put processes in place to make them go more smoothly and efficiently. And we have to be able to work smarter, not harder, because just how fast the pace of everything's going and the change of things. One of the things I do like that has happened over the past 9 years that I've seen is the data that we're able to have at the student level is at our fingertips so quickly, and we're really able to drill down and support kids in ways we weren't able to as easily before, because you can get the information, but not as easily as we can now. So that's been very beneficial. We can also do it at the teacher level and see which teachers need additional support. Maybe their growth is really strong in math, but not as strong in ELA. So we know the supports we need to provide and enhance learning for students, because again, every decision is what's best for students.
So what goes into that? Is it like maybe curriculum choices or new programs?
There's a lot of things that go into that. The main thing is there needs to be what we call Tier 1 instruction. And Tier 1 is basically the major instruction that you're doing, right? So it needs to be that you are engaging students. You probably remember taking classes where you're counting the ceiling tiles or not involved. We've all been there, right? Yeah. What are we doing to make sure all the students are involved, not just one or two that raise their hands? It's all kids involved all the time. Focus on that. And secondly, we've been very fortunate because our board has adopted some great curriculum with our ELA and our math. They're high quality. And it's really making sure that we are using that with the intentionality that the curriculum has. The curriculum also has things to be able to help, like our special ed or our ESS learners as well as our EL learners. So what kind of things can we do to support those kids? The technology has really changed because some of the programs are able to differentiate, and they have these algorithms that are much quicker than what a human could do. And they'll be able to tell you, this is what Cisco needs to work on. Here's where Cisco is struggling, and giving that kind of feedback immediately.
That's really cool. So what were I'm guessing maybe that was one of the areas that you focused on during your time as superintendent. Was there any other priorities that you have had?
I would say building systems that will outlast any one leader. And it's making sure that we have a culture of continuous improvement, a culture of caring for one another and students, making it a place where kids and staff want to be, and working on things to always improve the organization, whether it's instructional practices, whether it's increasing leadership capacity, or anything else that we can enhance. And it's that continuous focus and that unwavering belief.
Now, this might be a really similar question. What are you most proud of that you've accomplished in your time at Crane?
Again, I would go back to the focus is always on student achievement. When I came into this position, Cisco, there were 3 priorities that I had. And one is to be the chief cultural officer, because kids don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. I believe staff are the same way. They need to come to a place where they enjoy working, they feel valued, they feel empowered, they're not micromanaged. Also, student achievement. That's the business of our business, right? I want to be able to put my child in a classroom where I know that teacher's going to give their all and be dedicated to do whatever they can for my child to learn. Every child deserves that. And the third thing is that we have to look at things a little differently than we did years ago. We talked earlier about the declining enrollment. So we have to do things such as marketing, showing people the great things that we do in our schools, because great things are happening here, but people don't know about it. So we've worked a lot to try to improve that.
What have you been communicating then? Is it just I'm sorry.
Well, I'll tell you
repetitive.
No, I'll tell you a couple
Yeah.
things. One is when you take a look at the state test from last year, we just got this year's test results in Friday. But from last year, I can tell you we had the top 2 performing schools in the entire county, Gowan Science Academy and HLS. When you look at our 8th grade math scores, which to me are very important because reading scores or English language arts, you and I both know if a person's an avid reader, if they read a lot, they are more likely to excel in reading, right?
Yeah.
The more time you have eyes in print and you're doing that, the better you'll get. Math is so concrete sequential. And if you miss holes in that, like Swiss cheese, it's hard to be able to climb up that ladder. It's very, very important. We send more 8th grade students than anyone else prepared to go into the high school in math. More of them are proficient. And again, we keep a focus on student achievement. We're always talking about it. We're working to improve it all the time. And everybody knows that as good as we are, we can always get better. It's always that self-improvement. So I'm really proud of what our district has done and accomplished.
Wow. I mean, that is a really big deal because I know eighth grade math is one of those big markers for success.
It
right?
is, absolutely. And it's our last chance with these children, right? Not 3rd grade, 4th grade, 5th grade. It's 8th grade. That's the last time before we hand them off to high school and say they're yours. It's the last time we have to make an impact. So I'm really proud of that work. And it's not just 8th grade math teachers. It's everybody all the way up. And it's that culture of telling kids, persevere, ask those questions, rework the problem, think about how you solved it, building a classroom where they feel supported and loved and nurtured and cared for. It's everybody working together. Bus drivers making sure they get to school on time. Our nutrition staff making sure they get fed. Our maintenance department making sure the buildings look good. It's everybody working together. Really proud of everyone.
That's awesome. I'm curious because I have a friend who teaches out here, and they teach at the high school level. But they were telling me that Crane has an awesome ESS program out here for
phenomenal.
Yeah, that's what I've been hearing. I'm guessing that's part of one of the many supports that you have that maybe set you apart.
Absolutely. And the director, Connie Jerpseth, is very systems oriented and was complimented on the most recent audit about how well her structures are in place and things like that. So, yes.
That's all. I mean, I visited Suver Krupp and I did see they had the special room that's set aside for, I think, social emotional wellness. I'm forgetting it's
Neurosequential
sensory.
Model of Education, NME.
Thank you.
Yes. And really, it's teaching people to be able to regulate before you can reason. And you need to be able to calm yourself down because we all know emotions are a bad advisor, right? So if a student gets upset, sometimes they will say or do things that they regret. And teaching people to regulate and calm the nervous system before they react. And it's really a life skill for everyone. But those kind of things are really, really important. And we've really seen an improvement with our students.
That's cool.
It's really helped a lot of our children.
Well, I bet. No, I really do bet because, I'm sure we encounter lots of adults where you can tell you don't know how to regulate your emotions.
Think of road rage. Think of other times that people say or do something they regret later. And the other thing that's fascinating about the brain is the emotions kind of hijack the brain.
Yeah.
So in other words, they're like the superhighway. They go fast compared to the prefrontal cortex here, which is the thinking, reasoning, logical part of the brain. When your emotions are high, it hijacks this part of the brain. So if kids' emotions are high, it's hard for them to learn.
Yeah.
If staff's emotions are high, it's hard for them to be able to make good decisions. So it's good for everybody. And like I said, it's a great life skill for all of us.
It is. So then I am curious, what do you plan to do with your retirement?
Great question. So when I look at retirement, I kind of look at it like Goldilocks and the Three Bears, right? When people look at retiring, they can leave too early and regret it and be miserable. They can stay too long at a place, and then when they leave, they have a bitter taste in their mouth, or they could go out at the right time. And I feel like that's what I'm doing. I am going into retirement. I'm stepping into retirement at a time that I have such beautiful memories of this district. I'm so proud of this district. I'm so excited about the plans that they're doing to move forward and their priorities that they continue to have here, the leadership that's continuing to go on. So what I'm going to do really is to not schedule things for a while, because for 43 years, my calendar is driven living my life. So for a while, I'm not going to have anything on my calendar. I told myself for a year, I want to be flexible to be able to get up and go or out of town, go see kids, whatever I want to do. And after a year, I'll reevaluate. One of the things I am focusing in on is working more on my health as far as getting to the gym more and those kind of things. But I will always keep my eye on Crane and be their biggest cheerleader.
Oh, that's awesome. Do you have any special trips that you're doing? I know when Sheldon retired, you went, I think, on an Alaskan cruise. Are you doing
the
any
Mexican Riviera? Yes,
Oh,
I
look
am.
at that. That's so fun.
Leaving June 6th, yes.
Oh, I hope you enjoy that.
Thank you so much.
sure
I'm
you
excited.
will.
I appreciate it. We're going to go see, Cabo San Lucas, Mazatlan, La Paz, and Puerto Vallarta.
That is a great region. That is such a great
It'll
region.
be fun. And then I have my mother-in-law who moved to Utah to live with her daughter. So I promised her I'd go visit her in the summer sometime. So now that my calendar's open, I can pick some time to go up there and see her as well.
I'm happy of that for you.
Thank
Sorry
you.
for
I
being
am
nosy.
too. No, it's not nosy. They're great questions. Great questions.
That's great. So, what are your hopes for the district going forward, or any well wishes for Dale as he starts?
My hopes, and I know this will happen, is that they will keep students at the center of every decision they make. Children come first. They will also continue to always improve because this district is about a growth mindset and not being stagnant, and continuing the systems that have been in place for years, like I said, that outlast any one leader.
All right. Thank you so much, Lori. It has been a pleasure speaking with you, and I hope your retirement is wonderful. You have a great time. with
Thank
all
you
of your
so
travels.
much. I look forward to it. Thank you so very much.
You're welcome. This has been Educating Yuma's special reports on KAWC, and this reporting is supported by a grant from the Arizona Local News Foundation. Educating Yuma is a production of KAWC Colorado River Public Media and supported by a grant from the Arizona Local News Foundation. Questions or comments are welcome. Send them to cisco.stargazer@kawc.org. Our theme music is used with permission and composed by Brian Teo, available at freepd.com. To access this show, just visit the Shows tab on kawc.org. You can also take KAWC with you wherever you go. Just download the KAWC Kofa app and the listening is in your hand. I'm Cisco Stargazer. This is KAWC's Educating Yuma. Thank you for listening.